It's me, Kemba Upshaw-Howard. I'm the big sis, not the little one.
Hey, it's Denise Nicole Upshaw, and yeah, I'm the little sis, but I've been giving Kimba a run for her money since the 99s and the 2000s.
And today you're here with On the Up and Up with
The
the
Upshaw
Upshaw
sisters.
sisters. So, Nicole, let's take the people back. Last week, we spoke a little bit, or we gave like 10 ways to heal, or 10 ways we heal, things that we do, a couple tips or whatnot. We've received some feedback, and people want to hear a little bit more. So, today, we are going to discuss how healing it's not linear, right?
Right.
And neither is your glow up. So we're gonna go a little bit more into um, some of the things that we do, or how we just kind of move forward. But what I need people to know is it's okay to pause. Sometimes you just have to take a breath and pause. Nicole,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about some of the things that you have had to have a natural glow up with, or things that you might struggle with getting off track and then coming back.
Absolutely. I think the struggle that I've had for most of my adult life is work life balance.
Mm.
I love to live a very robust life in my personal life, and I also dedicate a lot of my time and energy into my work life. So during those times where I am building a project or in school or
Mhm.
doing really big things that are time consuming, I find myself struggling to find the balance to have enough, not only time, but also energy to achieve the things that I want to do in my personal life.
Right.
Yeah. So, one thing that I had to really figure out for myself is what does balance look like? Because balance is not 50-50. It's not
Mhm.
50% of my time goes toward work, whether that's, 8 hours here for work and another 4 hours for stuff that I'm doing for work. But after the work period, it's not a 50-50 thing.
Right.
For me, balance is about having enough time and energy to achieve the things in our life that are important to us. So for me, that's family, friends, faith, and not necessarily in that order. But then I also have to understand and be realistic about my work obligations.
Right.
And sometimes it's not just 8 to 5 or 8 to 7. Like there are different things that are happening throughout the week. So, what I would recommend for anyone who's struggling to identify, what does it really mean to have work life balance? It would
Mhm.
be to first identify what your values are and what are those things that you want to for sure prioritize your family, yourself, and that could be health, wellness, all of the
Right.
things that we talked about last week, and then making sure to allocate that time.
And I think that's important. You were talking about balance. Most ailments are actually centered around an imbalance.
Mm.
Most ailments are often centered around an imbalance. So sometimes we can't get our thoughts straight
Hmm.
because something's off. Sometimes we start getting physically sick. If we're catching colds, or, things are flaring up, a lot of that stuff is stress induced, and it comes from an imbalance. For me, I know that I'm always evaluating how I can be a better wife, how I can be a better mother, a better grandmother, a better sister, a better, just relative and friend. How can I be better? I'm always, always, always working on me. Um, and because I'm always working on me, I think, you know what? Pause. Just be. So when we talk about peace, be still, I have to schedule myself in. And I know that doesn't sound fun. It's not like always pretty. But if Peace Be Still actually has a look, Then that's me doing my morning walk meditations. You know, that's me saying, I am going to get up before the sun is at
Mm.
its fullest bloom.
Yeah.
I'm going to get up when the wind is still blowing because I live in a hot region.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so another thing that I have to do is just kind of get it out of the way. But
Right.
me squeezing it in for that level of peace and me saying, okay, if I do this for me today, this is my treat because I don't know what else the day is going to bring. I have work,
Mm.
I have family obligations, I just have so much to do and I'm just trying to figure it all out. And I don't want to have an imbalance. Um, so I'm just always just trying to put it together.
And so, are you saying that you essentially are getting up before everyone else gets up and you're prioritizing yourself first so that
I
you
am.
can and tell me how do others benefit from that as well?
So first of all, not to go through my whole morning routine, but when I get up, I first thank God,
Yeah.
right? Um, and I thank God, and it's just such a natural thing for me.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then when I think about what God has given me, He's given me the ability to get up and go. That's just a freedom in itself. Before I can give myself to others, I decided, let me pour into me. So this morning walk meditation that I go on, right? Sometimes my husband joins me, but 90% of the time in the morning I'm by myself.
Mhm.
It allows me to get my blood flowing. It allows me to shake off any negative thoughts that have come on me. And that's too early in the morning because I'm doing this in the 6 o'clock hour, in the 6 a.m. hour, right? So it's too early for anything negative. So it's all positive. So I'm giving myself affirmations, right? I'm giving myself a level of structure to say, this is what I need to do. And by the end of that walk, I've had a wonderful conversation, just me, myself, and my creator,
Yes.
right? And because I've done that, now when it's time for either school drop off or to sign on to work, um, I'm just going to say bubbly. It
Yes.
allows me to smile. It allows me to feel fresh. It allows my brain to not be cluttered because I've already gotten rid of any clutter that tried to come in and I've set my intention. I did all of that on my morning meditation walk. And that's what happens
Right.
because I've now scheduled myself in. If I get no more time in the day, I got that time. And that can't be taken away from me.
Right, right. I think that that morning stillness, like you said, is like the best time. You're not hearing I mean, unless you're in New York City, but you're not hearing honking, you're not hearing, anyone cursing. You have the stillness of the morning to yourself, and like
Right.
you said, just you and your creator to uh, outline your day and be intentional. The intention of it all, I think, is so
Yes.
important. I remember when I just last year or so, I worked in politics. I was kind of that was my second position in politics, and it can become very, very stressful. And I remember Dad telling me and encouraging me to get up and prepare like I'm gonna have war for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Prepare yourself, prepare your mind, your body, your spirit, knowing that there are people who may be ready to come against you, whether that be some sort of spiritual warfare, or maybe that's just a family member who has a bad attitude all the time. But to use that morning period to get up and prepare yourself. So I
Mm-hmm.
would run, I would play tennis, I would journal. I would do all of these things before I started my day so that
Mm-hmm.
when I walked in, I had a confidence about myself, I had an energy about myself. And then I preserved the best parts of myself for after work. And I
Yeah.
just felt like that routine was just like everything, and it really worked well for me.
You know,
Yeah.
sorry, I was just having a thought, right? You hear people talk about the early bird gets the worm. But I think about, our grandfather, Sonny,
Yeah.
and our dad. I think about our great grandmother, mother. And
Hmm.
these individuals always woke up super early in the morning. And when
Mhm.
I say early in the morning, I'm talking 3 a.m.,
Right.
4 a.m.
Right.
And the thing about being in the same house or
Mhm.
space with Sunny and
Mhm.
or with Dad is
Mhm.
that they don't have inside voices, you know?
Right.
So being in a room with in a house with Sunny or being in a house with Dad, they are loud when they speak. They don't have inside voice. And I think that's kind of where I might get that from too. Like I just project. And I used
Right.
to think that I projected because somewhere along the line I learned that your voice should be able to reach the person in the back of the room. Well, I forget sometimes it's just me and you in the room. There
Right.
isn't a back of the room.
Right.
But
Right.
to get back on track, the thing about it is when they woke up before anybody else woke up, or they were loud because they were actually connecting with someone. Sunny, if he was connecting with family in Sacramento, he was calling from the Bay Area to Sacramento, or Dad might be talking to someone in a different time zone. He might be talking to someone in the same time zone, but they were the early birds getting the worm.
Yeah.
And then by the time we were up, by the time the house was up, they were still saying, hey, here's the best side of me. Because when the day gets in my way, I don't know if my attitude is going to shift. They never said
Mhm.
these things. This is just what I perceived. And this is what
Mhm.
I get out of my own thoughts of
Yeah.
why it's important to have an early morning start with self.
Yeah.
People that do, like you said, you do tennis, or you
Yeah.
were running or walking or whatever, meditation, whatever that is, journaling. I find that people who start their day before they actually start their obligations
Yeah.
they always have a better attitude, and attitude defines your altitude. So to have a better attitude says that you can go far regardless to whom or what. And so I
Right.
can appreciate just that morning start.
That morning start. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And I would say my next recommendation would be to block off time.
Hmm.
So, time blocking has become such a big thing in the workplace, especially for those who work in office environments. It's being embedded into technology. Microsoft uses it in their calendaring system
Hmm.
and Outlook.
Hmm.
And for those who aren't familiar, time blocking is where you actually schedule a block of time. It could be 1 hour, 2 hours, it could be 20 minutes for that matter,
Hmm.
but that it is blocked off for a specific reason. And it's to alert yourself, alert others who maybe have access to your calendar or are looking for you that you are busy, that you're unavailable to engage about anything unless it's an absolute emergency, but that this time is blocked for you to do whether that's focused work where you are just strictly focused on like deep thinking, or again when we think about our healing journeys and maintaining peace, that can be that time that's set aside to go on those walks, to do an afternoon prayer, to connect with somebody who brings a lot of joy and energy to your
Right.
life, and you guys have that call. I have a friend when I worked when I worked during COVID, and my friend and I would meet in the middle. She would leave her house at the same time. This was in New York City,
Hmm.
so we would leave our house at the same time and walk toward each other. We would meet in the middle, and we would hug each other, do a quick little chat about our day, and then go back.
Right.
But because there wasn't a lot of interaction during that time, you needed to have that human interaction. But we scheduled that in so that there was never a time, or, for the most part, that anyone was putting anything on our calendar. I have adopted that same technique or tool within my own life, within my personal life, where at the very beginning of my day, I have something about midday and then in the evening. And if someone tries to reach me, I have to be disciplined enough to say, no, I am focused. This is my focus time. This is
Right.
my prayer time or my Bible study time, whatever it is for that moment. And I think that it goes back to what you've always said about pouring into your cup or having, and again, others pouring into my cup during that time. Because when I talk to one friend, no matter what I talk to him about, I feel amazing after I get off that call. So even if that's what I'm blocking my time for,
Hmm.
I think it's so important to have that time blocking system set up and to stick with it, because it can be
Right.
so easy to be like, oh, you know what? Okay, I'll let somebody, who has this emergency call me and talk to me. Well, if you can absolutely avoid that, I think one, people begin to respect your time more,
Right.
and two, you are investing in yourself.
Right.
What about you?
I was listening to you, right? And a
Yeah.
couple things came into my thought process. Um, as far as like time blocking, I think that that's important for folks that are just super busy, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think that's important for folks who don't take time to do for self. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I think that um, everything doesn't always have to be scheduled,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's
It
true.
has to be scheduled if, it's like I have to do this, and this. But I think sometimes some of my best walks outside of the morning one, right? I think my best walks sometimes is the reset. And that's really only like 5-10 minutes. So when my day is just like, just really chaotic at work, I say, you know what? Get up, pause, go for a quick walk. Just let the sun hit you.
Yes.
Even if it's
Mm-hmm.
gloomy outside, just feel what the universe is offering you. See that the world is so much bigger than you. Because when you see
Right.
that the world is so much bigger than you, then you want to love yourself a little bit more, right? Because you don't want to just be like just that big, right, in the world. So instead, you'll love on yourself a little bit more. And I think that those sometimes are my best walks. When I say,
Mm,
I've had enough, let me just get some air, reset, pause. I think that's
right.
important. And
That
the other
is.
thought that came
Yeah.
to mind when you were talking about focus time and, just connecting, with your friend in the morning, meeting halfway or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
um, I thought about prayer and prayer specifically in the Muslim community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in Islam, Muslims pray 5 times a day, and that is there's five prescribed times for prayer, and then there's a wudu or washing of the body that comes into play with that. And the importance of that is as you're going through this washing of the body, when you're cleaning your eyes, it's because maybe you've seen something you want to unsee.
Mm,
You clear your ears because something has come into your realm that you need to get rid of. You're cleaning your hands because you've touched something that may not have been the best.
right.
Reset. The same with the feet. You're washing the feet because now you've walked on a path that others have walked on that don't share the same energy as you. But
Mm,
overall, you're getting yourself clean so that way you can have this perfect and wonderful conversation with God. You know, and I
mm-hmm.
think that when we talk about resetting, when we talk about pausing, when we talk about just doing for self, I think continuously having those conversations with self and God is just really important because that's what keeps us on track amongst all the distractions. That's what will always keep us on track. And even if a person is not praying in the traditional way, in the way of Islam or in the way of Christianity or meditating in the way of a Buddhist, whatever it is that a person does to connect with who they see as their creator, it's just important to do that and to do it consistently because then we get to be our highest self. We're vibrating at a level that is just out of this world. Our cup of abundance is being filled up, and now we're pouring into others. And I think that keeps us from backtracking more than we, would have to otherwise.
And how important would you say it is to have folks around you who align with that same approach to life?
I think it's very important. If you have one person, if you have 10 people or, 500,000 people, I think that is really important because, like I said in the earlier episode, my husband's my mirror. So I think that these individuals are your mirror. I think that it's a part of your tribe, your community. And when you see people that look like you, when you interact with people that are, on the same path as you, and it doesn't matter if I'm at the very beginning of the start and you are, miles and miles ahead, or if we're just walking on the same path. The deal is we're both heading in this direction, and
Right.
I'm going to wait for you, and you are going to do your best to get to me, vice versa. Because we may never be, on equal playing grounds, if you will, but everything is equal under God. And because all things are equal under God, there is no big you, little me's, so on and so forth. And so I think that is very important, to have like mindedness around you at all times.
Right, right. And there's the saying birds of a feather flock together, and it's always been used in a negative connotation. But when you really think about it, you do need people who have the same energy, the same
Mm-hmm.
alignment, so that you are your best self and your highest self with others who are too. Otherwise, it's going to be like dragging down. So I
Right,
think for my next one, I'm going to say, as a major change for anyone who's trying to like get on the path of peace and stay on that path, it goes back to what you said last week, which was the accountability partner.
right,
Having that person who you have given permission to check you, to say, hey, 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 hold on, it doesn't seem like you're currently aligned with what you said your goals are.
right,
Or hey, 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 I see that you're sounding and looking a lot more stressed than I know that you want to be. So
mm-hmm.
are you doing the things that you have set yourself up to? Because let's be real, and that's the purpose of this conversation that we're having, is that there are times where we get out of alignment, and
Yes,
we get out of that alignment, we sometimes are like, well, you know what? I'm going to just pause really quickly. I'm not going to do all of my morning walk. I don't, I need to do this other thing first. Or we get up and we pick up our phone, and that's the first thing that we're looking at. And it then drives us in a whole different direction than
right,
what we initially planned. So when we start going down that path of getting out of alignment with ourself, our goals, our purpose, our interactions with God, we need to have that person. And it may not be a spouse. Some of us are single,
right,
but some of it's still a connection with others who know what your goals are, who know your heart, who know you at your best and at your worst. And
absolutely,
when they're like, oh, you're getting a little close to how you were last time, and that didn't go well, so let me pull you aside and talk to you really quickly. So I really appreciate and cherish having that alignment within my friend group, within my
mm-hmm.
family group, who do know me well enough and know what what my triggers are, know what it kind of looks like when I'm starting to go off the path.
Right,
And that they can say, hold on, let me talk to you, sister, let me talk to you, beloved, let me, like they give you that loving energy to say, what I'm seeing is this, and I'm concerned, which is ultimately an intervention, right? And they're
yeah,
intervening to say, let's do something about it now, and what can I do to help?
right. And it's not always pretty like that. Right? I
Right,
mean, I
please
just
tell
because
me.
my friends don't talk to me like that. And I mean, and they've been my friends since we were like 8 and 11. My friends are like, "Girl, what's wrong with you? You all right?" And
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they'll say, "Because I seen or you said, and you could have said it like, or so." I think that that's
Right.
beautiful, just to
And that's
have
the
people.
beauty of it. They know
Yeah,
you. They know what you need in that moment. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm quick to be like, well, I didn't mean it like that. Like, I know, but they don't know that.
Hmm.
So I think that that's awesome to have. Again, like you said, that accountability partner. But
Yeah.
I think that what we all need to remember is that we have to give ourselves permission to continue to grow. See, sometimes we will treat ourselves like you know better. How dare you do that? Whatever that is. Instead of saying, you know better, you have to do better, and it's okay that that wasn't your greatest moment.
Hmm.
We have to
Right.
give ourselves permission to every day get it right. I think I said a few days ago, and I said Lisa Nicole. That's because I was thinking about you. It's Lisa Nichols. Sorry. Like, I
Oh.
love her, and I'm sorry for saying Nicole. Nicole, that's your fault that I did
Yeah.
that. But
Okay.
Lisa Nichols, I have to say, she says you have to give yourself grace. You have to forgive yourself
Yes.
1,000 times. And
Yep.
every time you get to 999, reset. That's a lot
Hmm.
of times you got to forgive yourself if you think about it.
Yep.
But guess what? It's so many more times that we will have to do that. And we just have to give ourselves permission to listen to ourselves. We have to give ourselves permission to love on ourselves. And we have to give ourselves permission for time to get it right. Because every day that we wake up, it's a day that no person has ever seen before. And it's another day that we have been given the opportunity to get it right. The glow
Right.
up is real only if we stay rooted in it.
Right. Right. And I feel like that is something that I have to remember often. Giving myself grace and learning that process of forgiving,
Mm-hmm.
things that I like, past transgressions or things that are out of alignment with God's word, or things that may be out of alignment with my upbringing or family expectations or whatever that is. Forgiving that on a regular basis has helped me to also forgive others in
Mm-hmm.
their transgressions against me or how I've perceived it to be. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I really think about it, I do believe that we're all, for the most part, doing our best. We're all
Mm-hmm.
doing the best that we can, and if we can live with that level of humility toward ourselves and toward others, then those interactions are a lot healthier.
Yes.
But and so I appreciate us having this conversation where we can say, hey y'all, we absolutely love the interaction and the conversations we're having around healing and, sitting by the water and
Right.
journaling and painting and doing all these wonderful things that really do ease the spirit.
Yeah.
But we also recognize that it's not as easy as it may seem, that it does require work, even just to get to that point in deciding, who can I delegate something to so that I do have this time for myself. What can I give up to say, you know what, I know you're not going to do it how I like it to be done, but you know what, it's still on you to do because I need this time for myself.
Yes.
and as
Definitely.
and tell me what your thoughts are, because I feel like as Black women sometimes we're like, we got to do it all. We got to be the superwoman. And I'm shedding that persona.
It's
How is it
hard.
working for
It's
you?
hard to
Yeah.
share that, right? I mean, because I think of um, just in my household, I think of myself as the manager of my house, right? So my husband's the CEO, I'm the
Right.
manager, and then we have the the volunteer staff because they only work. They only work if they're getting paid, and they're not getting paid, so they're volunteer staff.
Yep. Love it.
But the thing about it is, I just kind of feel like I have to do so much. And my husband is awesome because, he'll get in there and he'll just, he'll clean, clean, clean. And he'll say, I left this over here for you. and he's done like 90% of the stuff, you know? Or he may ask me to do a thing and I'm saying, okay, now I'm pausing work to go do it. And he'll say, I didn't say do it now. But for me, I have to do it now because if I do it now, I can get it out of the way. And then my granddaughter is like, oh, I need to go to basketball. Or, oh, can you come to my school? Or, oh, I forgot. And then I'm like, okay, let me get it done now. And this goes into why I'm saying I have to schedule myself in because I'm doing this during the daytime, and then come the evening time, it's okay, let me make room for other personal connections. I need to talk to my sister. I need to talk to my friends. I need to follow up, like on something else, or, we need to do this recording. Whatever it is, I'm just always going, going, going. So I do have some sort of cape. And I have a cape oftentimes because I have that mindset, if I don't do it, it won't get done. But like you just said a minute ago, it's not true. It'll get done. It may not get done the way I like it, but it's going to get done. And I have to not just accept it, but I have to appreciate it. I have to appreciate the volunteer staff, my granddaughter. I
They're
have to
important.
appreciate, my husband who's done something all on his own. I have to appreciate the fact that I do have help. And I can't say what that help is supposed to look like. I just have to accept the help as it is. And it lightens everything up. Peace
Yeah.
be still. You don't have to make a lot of noise. And sometimes that's where I falter because I make noise in places I don't have to make noise.
Yeah. And on that note, you all, we are so grateful for you all tuning in
Yes, for
and
sure.
continuing to give us feedback, challenging us, sharing your stories. I mean, we have been so humbled and overwhelmed by the amount of feedback that we've received, and we are so appreciative of that. We have created an email for you all to contact us if you like us to read out your story. If there's something that you align with or something that you would like us to chat about more, definitely email us. But if you also just want to say, hey, my sister and I, or we watch your show, or we watch this clip and it really touched us in this way, or here's something that we went through and here's how we overcame it. We would love to hear your story. So
Yes.
please email us at upshawsisters@gmail.com. And that's upshawsisters@gmail.com. And we would love to hear from you all. Any
Yeah.
final thoughts, sister?
Um, yeah, I just want to say again, just to kind of um, come off of what you were saying that, I definitely appreciate all the feedback. It's not just the feedback, but sometimes just hearing other people's stories and seeing that we're not alone. We're not alone in our sisterhood. We're not alone in our womanhood. We're not alone at all. And because we're not alone and you're not alone, we should just continue just to kind of build this community. This is our tribe. And until next time, I would just love for everyone just to be mindful, take mindful moments to just pause, appreciate all that you have because you are so wonderfully built, and it's just so much that you have to offer the world. Give yourself grace. And with that, I think we're out, but we're going to keep it on that up
Up
and
and up. Keep it on the up and up. Keep it on the up.